Let me tell you today my favorite stories about distributivity. So the whole topic for the whole day today is distributivity. And I will tell you these stories today, and I will tell you later, maybe tomorrow, maybe later, why is it that I am telling you these stories. Because some stories are not directly related to the course, some stories are related, but hold on with the question of why are you telling us this. Not everything is going to be on the final, if you're interested in that bureaucracy of material flow. Something is going to be, but you'll figure it out later. So distributivity, so that's basically a very simple property about addition and multiplication, saying that for any, let's state it in terms of numbers, for any numbers, maybe I will do it specifying that those are numbers. For any a, b, and c, a multiplied by b plus c is equal to a multiplied by b plus a multiplied by c. And the stories I'm going to tell you are about the use of that property, about how that property shows up in different settings, and about the implications of that property, like the product rule is the application I showed yesterday. Now let me start with the, you see that fine line, right? And let me start with the real world problem I solved 2 days ago. I was annoyed about having markers and well, in a way that I have a very long board, and if I use a red marker somewhere there and I put it over there, and then I come to this side of the board and I need the red marker, I have to run there, pick it up, and run back, right? So the idea was, well, why don't I have something to keep the markers all together with me all the time? And I thought about, why don't I buy something like a pouch? So that was my goal, to buy a pouch. But, well, you know what happens when you come to a store and say, well, I need a pouch for markers. I'm sorry, we don't care. We don't carry those pouches, right? We don't even know if those exist. They probably don't. So what should I do? Well, I decided, well, if I go to, say, Lowe's, right? So what should I ask for? Do they possibly have pouches there?
Possibly.
Possibly, yes. And what I found there is pouches for phones. Because those builders, they have phones and they want to protect them, so they carry pouches for phones. And also, if you go to Best Buy, they may have pouches, but what I finally found was a pouch for camera. So what I looked for was a camera pouch for, well, in Best Buy. So if I were to do a search online without going to a store, talking to a representative, what would I do? Well, I would open Google probably, and I would try to do a search. But of course, I don't search for pouch for markers, right? I would search maybe Lowe's and phones, right? Just to restrict my search to those two. I would also search for Best Buy and cameras. And I'm really interested in either of those, because I'm not going to buy both, right? And I would say either this or that, or both, right? if both carry, I'll be able to choose. So this or to me means either this or that or both of them. And that would be my question for Google. Right? Now, how would Google process a question like this? And more specifically, I'm interested in any manipulation of this question that Google can perform. And what I'm saying now is that basically that at the level of logic can be encoded using variables. So you have variable L and P or B and C. And my question is very elementary. Is there any way to rewrite this in any other form? Because if Google is not flexible enough to change the questions in an equivalent way, it will be stuck with whatever the user enters, and it will be very hard to interpret and to understand what the question is really. So what would be a way to reinterpret this question?